we'll start with the questions. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. That was me.
The thing is, how frustrating is it for the team that to not have another game and another
Yeah.
abandonment? So, how do you see this? I mean, for teams like Afghanistan, Ireland, who actually don't get to play a lot of big teams, these are the opportunities. So, I mean, being a coach, how frustrating is it for the team?
Very frustrating. I thought, obviously, after the New Zealand game, you thought no ways it could happen twice. But in a game that is a must-win for us, or a game that we wanted to win very much, it now comes down to we have to win our next two games, which we've played Sri Lanka before, so we know each other well. So that should be a good game in Brisbane. And that's at the forefront of our minds now. So it is very frustrating, and this is what happens this time of the year, and the beginning of summers. This always has the potential to happen, and it's just really unfortunate. The frustrating thing as well is there's a stadium down the road that's got a roof on it as well. You could play cricket there, so we could have had lots of cricket. But this is the way it is, and this is what makes tournaments unpredictable. It makes tournaments exciting with regards to the matches coming up, must-win games. Hopefully we can be a part of it and in the mix, and looking forward to it.
I mean, going forward, do you feel that it is important that all the stakeholders talk about it? That whenever there's an opportunity of having a roofed stadium or something like that, there has to be a backup of that kind, because that eventually helps you.
No, I don't think you can have backups and all that sort of stuff, because the logistics of it all to put on a World Cup is huge. So the ICC always put a lot of diligence and effort into their thought process. I mean, who's going to turn out an opportunity to play at the MCG 2 matches like we had scheduled? So we were very excited. We thought it was on the books, and going to be some spectacular games. Double headers as well. So the people of Melbourne were going to get some fantastic cricket. Hopefully the game tonight goes ahead, and the people get something to watch, because I think that's what the World Cup's about. Certainly T20 is about showing the game and putting on the huge stage that it is, and people watching it and growing the game.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hi.
The last time you all played, and the next game now, it's a gap of 10 days. So how does that really affect the team? Because you're probably going to be the one that's not played the most. How do you manage that?
Well, yeah, it is tricky, and I think we've been in Australia for quite a while now. We had quite a bit of a build-up in Brisbane, and we've played already a warm-up game at Brisbane. So hopefully we can learn from that and the conditions there. The game we did play at Perth, I think, is pretty similar to how it's going to be in Brisbane. So our players should be well adversed, and it's going to be an exciting game. Must win for both sides. We can't really have excuses of we haven't played for 10 days, because that's the nature of tournament cricket. You could have those gaps where the odd day rained off. When you play a World Cup, there's sometimes 4 or 5 days between a 50-over game. And if one game's rained off, you're going to have that break. So with the World Cup next year as well, it's good practice, good preparation for the players, and the mindset, and how to prepare for games and be successful.
Jonathan, how bad was the outfield out there, and can you compare it to the other night?
I think it was exactly the same. I mean, these sand-based grounds, they get to a certain point where the mud is actually there. The water doesn't stay on top, because it's designed also for players who wear boots. It's very much winter weather, and you could very much have an AFL or a rugby game on there or whatever. With cricket, it's very different, and with the spikes, they would go through the ground is very soft. And the umpires think that obviously it's not suitable for play. Never mind, it's still raining. But if it stopped, I still think it would struggle. So I think for the England game, it's going to have to stop for a little while, hopefully, and it dry out. So fingers crossed we can get some cricket for the crowd. But around the square, where it's run off the covers, and it rained the whole of yesterday, didn't it? It rained the whole of last night as well. I woke up and had a look at the radar, and the last 6 hours it had rained. So to be fair, the ground staff have done an amazing job for the ground to be in the condition it is, and that close to being able to play after the amount of rain they had. So full credit to the MCG and the people here and the ICC.
Would you have had any concerns if you'd tried to get on for any of your fast bowlers or players?
You'd always have concerns. You don't want injuries to happen, but it was. I mean, when we warmed up the other night, players were slipping over, running in a straight line, never mind having to change direction or dive or those sorts of things. So the spikes are very different to football boots. So they sort of go through the soft soil. So that's the difference compared to normal traditional cricket fields we'd have in England, where the grass is a little bit thicker maybe. But it's a great place to play, and we were disappointed we can't get on.
Just a final one. Do you have a gut feel? If it stops raining, do you think it's possible to play?
I don't know. Depends. It depends the drainage. I mean, the work the ground staff have been able to do, and just how quickly it can dry with a bit of wind. So, you always want to see cricket played at a World Cup. You don't like fans or spectators coming to grounds and being turned away. You want to grow the game, and you want to put on a good advert. And I know England and Australia will be chomping at the bit, just like we were. I spoke to a lot of the Irish players when we were out there looking at the ground, and our players, we were desperate to play, and that's only a good thing for us, and very disappointing at the same time.
Just on that, Jonathan, Ireland make their debut the other night and have a famous win in their whole country's history. I think it was the same for Afghanistan. I think this was supposed to be their MCG debut. Just how jealous are you of the Irish that they get their moment and you're left sitting there for 2 days? As you say, so frustrating, disappointing.
Yeah, I think jealousy is a bit of a sort of a thing you don't want to have with regards to, otherwise you could find something to be jealous about all the time of everyone. So it's just the way that it's the cookies crumbled, if you like, and we got to make sure that we're ready for a game with Sri Lanka, and that's the forefront of our mind. But the MCG is a fantastic place to play. Very fortunate to have played here and enjoyed it immensely. Also coached and got the opportunity to walk around the stadium and actually enjoy. But when you play, you don't get the opportunity to see around and all the history and the heritage that it has. And I'm over the Irish beating the English all the time. They beat us at a World Cup I think it was about 10 years ago in Bangalore. So they have a habit of doing it. So it's time for that to stop.
Any more questions here? All good? Right.
Good. Nothing down the line? All good. Okay.